Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got a story today. I mean, you sent over these sources, and it's just staggering. Reads like a spy novel,
And it
honestly.
really does. Audacious is the word, and chillingly precise.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking high-stakes assassination, a dictator's family, and, well, the most dangerous chemical weapon out there.
Right. BX nerve agent.
So our mission today is to really unpack this. We've got the intelligence reports, forensic findings, diplomatic cables, the whole picture. Let's dive into the assassination of Kim Jong-nam.
Okay, so the starting point, it's all about contrast, isn't it? The setting versus the method.
Totally. Set the scene for us.
All right. It's the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA-2. Morning of February 13th, 2017.
KLIA-2, that's the budget terminal, right? Busy.
Exactly. Think bright lights, noise, thousands of people rushing for flights, total chaos of modern travel, global capitalism humming along.
The last place you'd expect. Well, what happened next?
Precisely. The absolute last place you'd imagine a silent, invisible chemical weapon attack unfolding.
And amidst all that bustle, there's this guy, described as large, middle-aged, thinning hair.
Yeah, just walking calmly, heading for the self-checking kiosks, looks like any other traveler.
Trying to get back home. To Macau, was it?
That was the plan, or so it seemed. But his identity, that was complicated.
He had a passport, didn't he?
He did. A diplomatic passport, actually.
Yeah.
But the name was Kim Chol, born 1970.
Kim Chol. Not his real name, though.
No, not at all. That alias, Kim Chol, it was a very thin mask. Behind it was someone who, for a while anyway, was basically the crown prince of North Korea.
Right, because hours later, after this really bizarre, split-second encounter in the terminal, the news breaks.
And it hits like a bombshell. International press confirms it. The man known as Kim Chol is actually Kim Jong-nam,
The estranged older half-brother of Kim Jong-un, North Korea's leader.
a senior member of the Kim dynasty, executed publicly in a foreign airport.
And the how of it.
Yeah.
That's what pushes this beyond just a political hit.
Absolutely. The method is key. It was invisible, odorless, silent. Took Malaysian forensic teams time to figure it out.
And they found
VX nerve agent. Confirmed.
NVX. Just explain quickly. This isn't like standard poison, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. VX is internationally classified.
Yeah.
It's a Schedule I chemical weapon. We're talking the most dangerous category there is.
Like sarin gas, that level.
Exactly that level. Using it is considered a war crime under the Chemical Weapons Convention.
Yeah.
It's banned for a very good reason.
So this story, it's way more than just a family feud, isn't it?
Oh, much more. It pulls in high-level intelligence games, the really cynical use of these women as, well, disposable tools.
Pawns.
Totally.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's about a message, a calculated message from the regime.
What message?
A message aimed not at secrecy, but at pure deterrence, basically. We can get you anywhere. You are never safe.
Chilling. Okay, to really get this, we need to go back. Understand who Kim Jong-nam was and how he ended up in that airport. The Forgotten Prince. Okay, so Kim Jong-nam, born May 10th, 1971. Pyongyang.
And crucially, the eldest son of Kim Jong-il, who was, destined to rule North Korea himself.
In a system like that, eldest son, that basically means heir apparent, right? Born right next to the throne.
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah.
But his life started with a major political wrinkle. His mother,
Sung Hae-rim, she was an actress?
a famous one, yes. South Korean born, actually.
Yeah.
And Kim Jong-il's relationship with her, it was kept secret. Deeply secret.
Why?
Because Kim Il-sung, the founder, Kim Jong-il's father,
Yeah.
he reportedly disapproved. Strongly.
So the future heir's existence is kind of hidden.
Pretty much. Raised in relative isolation, even from other elites in Pyongyang, shielded from public view.
Which led to a really strange upbringing for a potential leader.
Definitely not the standard Pyongyang elite education. No strict ideological drills from day one for him.
Where did he go to school then?
Abroad. Early years spent in Europe. Boarding schools in Russia and later Switzerland.
Wow. So the heir to the Hermit Kingdom is getting a Western education.
Think about it. Exposed to Western culture, freedoms, different ways of thinking from a young age, it definitely shaped him.
How so? What were his interests?
Reports suggest things like art, film, technology, things pretty far removed from the military-first Jewish ideology focus back home.
Sounds more like his father, Kim Jong-il, who also had artistic interests, right?
Exactly. He was described as having a similar blend of sensitivity, sharpness, maybe even artistic flair. His father seemed to appreciate that. for a time.
And despite all this secrecy and the unusual schooling, he was considered the successor for a while.
Oh, yes. Sources are clear on this. Late 90s up to about 2001, he was widely seen as the natural heir.
Did he have official roles?
He did. A high-ranking position in the Ministry of Public Security. And interestingly, he was focused on IT and computers.
Modernizing things.
That seemed to be the idea. It fit with some of his father's own attempts to boost certain sectors. It wasn't just a symbolic role.
And he traveled with his father.
Yes. Crucial official trips. To Shanghai, other parts of China. These were seen as grooming trips, exposing him to potential economic models, high-level diplomacy.
So he had the lineage, the position, the access. He was on the path.
He was absolutely on track, standing right there, poised to take over.
Until the airport incident. Years before the final one.
I saw.
This story is just bizarre.
It really is. You have to talk about the sheer, almost dark comedy of the 2001 Narita airport incident. The Disney debacle.
Right. This is what completely derailed everything for him.
Totally shifted the narrative. So Kim Jong-nam tries to enter Japan at Narita Airport. He's not alone. He's got 2 women with him and a young boy.
And he's not using his real name, obviously.
No, he's using a forged passport, a Dominican Republic passport.
Dominican Republic, okay. And the name?
The name on the fake passport was Peng Xiang.
Peng Xiang. Doesn't that mean something like?
Crudely translated, yes. Fat bear.
Oh my God. The heir to North Korea trying to sneak into Japan as Fat Bear with a dodgy Dominican passport. You can't make this stuff up.
The Japanese authorities caught him, of course. The passport was clearly fake. The humiliation was already immense.
But why? Why was he doing this? That's the killer detail, isn't it?
It is. During the interrogation, Japanese officials pressed him. Why risk illegal entry? Him, the son of Kim Jong-il.
And he confessed.
He confessed his grand ambition. He wanted to visit Tokyo Disneyland.
Disneyland. Not state secrets, not business deals. Disneyland.
The irony is just staggering. North Korea's image is all about absolute ideological purity, military strength, seriousness.
And the Crown Prince just wants to go on the rides.
It completely undermined the entire image. The regime is obsessed with the perception of power, the infallibility of the Kim bloodline.
The Pig 2 bloodline, right?
Yeah.
They see themselves as almost godlike.
Exactly. And this incident painted the heir as frivolous, reckless, desperate for Western entertainment. The international media had a field day.
What was the reaction back in Pyongyang from his father?
Pure fury. Kim Jong-il was reportedly livid. Not just the security breach, but the global embarrassment, the shame.
How bad was it?
So bad, apparently, that he canceled an official state visit to China, a hugely important diplomatic trip. Canceled because of the sheer embarrassment his son had caused.
Wow, that's significant.
It was devastating for Kim Jong-nam's standing. Immediately, his position as heir was gone, just like that.
And the focus shifted.
Instantly, it shifted to his younger half-brother, Kim Jong-un, who was seen as perhaps more serious, more ideologically reliable, maybe easier to control.
So the trip to Disneyland wasn't just a personal blunder.
No, it was the trigger, the mechanism that fundamentally altered the line of succession and arguably the future course of North Korea. All because of Mickey Mouse.
So after 2003, Kim Jong-nam is effectively sidelined. You called it de facto unofficial exile.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He wasn't formally banished, not publicly anyway, but politically he was finished in Pyongyang, removed from the power structures.
Where did he end up spending most of his time?
Primarily Macau, China, though he traveled a lot around Southeast Asia too.
Yeah.
Singapore, Malaysia.
What was that exile like? Was he living in poverty?
Oh no, not initially. It wasn't like that. His father, Kim Jong-il, still seemed to ensure he had funds, access to a certain lifestyle.
How? Through official channels.
Often through rather murky channels. Suspect business dealings, state funds likely funneled via China, enough to maintain a comfortable life, at least for a while.
So living the high life.
For a time, yes. Gambling was apparently a big interest. Frequent stays in luxury hotels. But over time, maybe the funds dwindled or the lifestyle became less secure. He moved between fancy places and eventually simpler ones.
But always aware he was politically toxic.
Absolutely. He knew he was out. He was this figure drifting between the casinos and hotels, always sort of looking over his shoulder, meeting with a diverse range of contacts, a man in limbo.
But it's this limbo, this distance, that ironically made him dangerous again.
Precisely. He went from being the forgotten prince to becoming an active threat because he started talking.
A journalist.
To foreign journalists, yes, occasionally. And when he talked, he wasn't just complaining about his own situation. He was criticizing the regime itself.
That's the crucial part. What kind of criticisms?
He attacked the core of the system. He openly criticized the North Korean political structure. He warned that the country was heading for collapse unless there were major reforms.
Reforms meaning what? Opening up?
Yes, economic reforms, maybe even political changes. Things utterly anathema to the hardline regime, especially under his brother later on.
And this made him interesting to other countries.
Immensely attractive. Think about it. A member of the Kim family, the former heir, talking about collapse. Intelligence agencies in Seoul, Tokyo, maybe even Washington, they'd be very interested in that.
And lethal to Pyongyang.
Absolutely lethal. He wasn't just predicting trouble. He was actively undermining the carefully constructed image of stability and strength from abroad.
There was that book, wasn't there, by a Japanese journalist?
Yes, Yuji Gomi. He interviewed Kim Jong-nam extensively, and the quotes in that book, they were explosive.
What did he say about his half-brother, Kim Jong-un?
He didn't hold back. Called Kim Jong-un too young and inexperienced. Basically implied he was just a figurehead, a puppet for the old guard generals.
Wow. And he called his leadership a failure.
Explicitly. Said it was leading North Korea towards ruin.
This wasn't subtle criticism, it was a direct challenge.
Essentially treason, spoken publicly to foreign media.
From the regime's perspective, absolutely. High treason.
Now connect this to Kim Jong-un, the new leader. He's consolidating power, purging rivals. Even executed his own uncle, Jang Song-taek.
Right. Kim Jong-un was ruthless in eliminating any potential challenger, anyone who could represent an alternative source of legitimacy within the Kim dynasty.
And Kim Jong-nam was the ultimate potential alternative, wasn't he?
Exactly. The eldest son, the former heir apparent, someone with the Pak-2 bloodline who is now openly criticizing the leader and predicting the regime's downfall.
He wasn't just an annoyance. He was a direct threat to Kim Jong-un's legitimacy.
The most dangerous kind of dissident. One with a potential claim to the throne itself. So the regime would have seen him as a target that needed to be eliminated. This wasn't just a possibility.
No, it was official policy, according to intelligence reports. South Korean intelligence confirmed Kim Jong-un had issued a standing general order. Eliminate the half-brother.
A standing order, so they'd been trying for a while.
Yes. The threat was documented and very real. Sources mentioned earlier, unsuccessful attempts on his life. One notable incident reportedly happened in Budapest.
He must have known he was living on borrowed time.
He certainly seemed to. There's that reported letter he wrote to Kim Jong-un, pleading, basically, forgive my life and that of my family. He knew the stakes.
So the assassination in KL wasn't a sudden decision?
No, it seems like the culmination of a long-term hunt. They had the motive, they had the order, they were just waiting for the right opportunity, the right method.
A method that would be untraceable, but also send a powerful message.
Exactly. High impact, high deniability, maximum terror.
Okay, let's fast forward to February 2017, Kim Jong-nam's final trip.
Right. He arrives in Malaysia on February 6th. Spends some time first on Langkawi, the resort island.
Sounds almost like a holiday. Relaxed.
Relatively, perhaps. Before heading to Kuala Lumpur, his plan was to fly back to Macau on AirAsia. Back to his family, back to his supposed safe haven.
And then comes the morning of February 13th, KLEA2.
He enters the terminal, still using the alias Kim Chol on his passport. Heads towards the self-check-in area.
And again, picture the scene. It's busy, noisy, anonymous.
Thousands of people milling around, boarding calls, phones ringing, just normal airport chaos, the perfect cover for what was about to happen.
Hidden in plain sight.
Precisely. The stage was perfectly set.
And the assassins, the agents were in place?
They were. The two women, Siti Aizia, an Indonesian national, and Doan Thi Quang from Vietnam.
Just two ordinary women, seemingly? Not obvious spies or anything?
Not at all, which was likely part of the plan.
Okay, the attack itself. It happens around 9:00 a.m.
Around then, yes. And it's captured on CCTV. It is chillingly quick.
What does the footage show?
Doan Thi Quang. She's the one who became famous for wearing that white T-shirt with LOL on the front.
Right, the LOL shirt, the irony.
It's incredibly dark irony. She approaches Kim Jong-nam from behind. In just a second or two, she reaches around and moves her hands across his face.
Like wiping something on him?
Exactly. A smearing motion. Forensic experts later confirmed she seemed to wipe him with either a cloth or just her bare hands, covered in some kind of liquid.
How long did it take?
The actual contact. Maybe 2 seconds. Max.
And then?
Both women immediately walk away. Quickly. Separately. They just melt back into the crowd.
Anyone nearby? What would they have thought?
Probably nothing much. Maybe a weird prank. A brief, strange argument. It happened so fast, so smoothly.
But the liquid, it wasn't harmless.
Far from it. Kim Jong-nam felt it immediately. He knew something was wrong.
What did he do?
He went straight to airport security, found an official nearby, and reported it. His words were apparently quite clear. Someone grabbed me from behind and sprayed liquid on my face.
Okay, let's slow this down. This is where the VX kicks in, right? How quickly?
Terrifyingly quickly.
Yeah.
Within minutes of that smear.
Minutes. What were the symptoms?
The sources detailed this really rapid onset. First, intense burning in his eyes and on his face. Then dizziness, profuse sweating. He started getting weak, shaky, visible tremors.
Where did they take him?
To the airport clinic first. Staff there tried to help, gave him oxygen, but his condition was just plummeting.
Not stabilizing at all.
No, worsening dramatically, rapidly. His nervous system was essentially under catastrophic attack.
The VX was shutting everything down.
Blocking the nerve signals, yeah. Especially to his respiratory system. He went critical while being transferred to the hospital in an ambulance.
And he didn't make it.
He died before arrival. Yeah. The sheer speed is what's so shocking.
How long from the actual attack to his death?
The whole process.
Yeah.
Less than 20 minutes.
20 minutes, start to finish.
It shows why VX was chosen. Its speed, its absolute lethality, even in tiny doses.
Yeah.
It guaranteed the outcome. No chance of survival, really.
And while Malaysian authorities are dealing with the sudden death of this guy, Kim Chol,
the next day, the world learns his true identity. And boom, this isn't just a local police matter anymore. It's a massive international incident. The biggest political assassination in years. Wizard. So Kim Jong-nam is dead.
And North Korea's reaction is immediate, isn't it?
Yeah, they instantly started pushing back, denied anything suspicious.
They were fiercely opposing an autopsy, insisting he died naturally. What was the official line?
A heart attack. That was their story, despite the clear sequence of events reported by Kim Jong-nam himself before he collapsed.
But the Malaysians, facing these really unusual circumstances, decided to proceed with the autopsy anyway.
They did, and the findings, well, they blew the heart attack theory completely out of the water.
Because they found
traces of VX nerve agent in his eyes and his blood, on his face. Conclusive forensic evidence.
And that changes everything. Suddenly, it's not just murder. It's chemical warfare.
Okay, let's unpack VX a bit more. You said it's Schedule 1. What exactly is it? Chemically, it's O-ethyl S2, disopropylaminoth, methylphosphonolthioate. Bit of a mouthful.
Definitely.
But what matters is its classification. Schedule 1 under the Chemical Weapons Convention. That puts it right alongside things like sarin, taboon, mustard gas, weapons of war.
Odorless.
Colorless. That's right. Often called the silent killer because you wouldn't necessarily know you've been exposed until the symptoms start, and by then it's often too late.
How does it kill you? What's the mechanism in the body?
It's brutally effective. It works by inhibiting an enzyme called acetylcholinesterase.
Okay, what does that enzyme normally do?
Think of it like the cleanup crew for your nerve signals. After a nerve sends a signal to a muscle, acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter that carries the message. Acetylcholinesterase then breaks down that acetylcholine so the signal stops.
So the muscle can relax again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
VX binds permanently to that enzyme, stops it working. So acetylcholine builds up and the nerve signals just keep firing, non-stop.
Your nerves are basically stuck in the on position.
Precisely. Which leads to massive, uncontrolled muscle contractions all over the body. Spasms, convulsions, vomiting, sweating, tiny pinpoint pupils. That's a classic sign.
And crucially, the breathing.
That's the fatal part. The muscles that control your breathing, including your diaphragm, go into spasm, then paralysis. You literally suffocate because you can't exhale. Your lungs lock up.
And it takes very little.
Minuscule amounts. Absorbed through the skin, which is what happened here. We're talking maybe 10 milligrams, a few grains of salt worth could be lethal.
And the Malaysian pathologist's conclusion in court was clear.
Absolutely unequivocal. The pathologist testified that VX was the sole cause of death. Zero evidence of a heart attack, zero evidence of any other contributing disease. The North Korean narrative was completely debunked by science, so VX confirmed. What does that mean internationally? You mentioned the OPCW?
Right, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. They're the global watchdog. Malaysia, as a signatory to the Chemical Weapons Convention, notified them.
And the OPCW got involved.
Yes, Malaysia cooperated fully. OPCW experts could confirm the findings using their own specialized labs. This officially verified it.
Verified what, exactly?
That this wasn't just a murder using poison. This was the documented use of a state's chemical weapon on the sovereign territory of another country, in a crowded civilian airport.
Which is a massive violation.
Huge. A grave breach of international law and treaty obligations. It just demonstrates this incredible, Almost unbelievable callousness by whoever planned this.
Zero regard for the thousands of innocent people potentially exposed.
None whatsoever. Using a weapon of mass destruction in a budget airline terminal. It tells you everything about their risk assessment, or lack thereof. So the weapon is identified. Now, the investigation turns to who delivered it. CCTV is key here.
It was the smoking gun. Led police directly to the two women, Siti Aja and Duan Tiquan.
And Hong, again, wearing that LOL t-shirt. That image just sticks with you. It's so jarringly cynical.
It really is. And their defense. Well, it was quite something.
They claimed they had no idea what they were doing, right?
That was the core of it. They insisted they genuinely believed they were taking part in a prank show. Like a hidden camera gag for YouTube or something.
A crank show. Seriously, smearing liquid on strangers' faces in an airport.
That's what they claimed. They said they'd been recruited by these men who we now know were North Korean agents posing as TV producers.
And these producers paid them.
Small amounts of money, yes. Told them to perform these pranks, smearing lotion or baby oil, they thought, on various people to capture reactions for online videos. They even claimed they'd done similar harmless practice runs before.
It sounds naive to the point of being unbelievable. Could they really have been that clueless?
It certainly tests credulity, but it speaks volumes about the handlers, doesn't it? The sophistication of the manipulation. They didn't need master spies.
They needed disposable pawns.
Exactly. People perhaps desperate for money or a bit of fame, easily manipulated, focused only on the story they were told, not the reality.
Okay, but how did they survive handling VX, if it's so deadly on skin contact?
That brings us to the dual component theory. This was the prosecution's working hypothesis, and it's quite ingenious in a terrifying way.
Dual component, meaning the VX wasn't fully formed until it was on his face.
That's the idea. VX can sometimes be created using a binary system mixing two less toxic precursor chemicals together.
So the theory is, one woman had precursor A on her hands, the other had precursor B.
And neither liquid on its own was immediately lethal, or at least not as rapidly lethal as the final product.
But when they both smeared his face,
the two precursors combined on his skin to synthesize the fully potent VX nerve agent. A plus B equals death.
That's incredibly sophisticated planning.
It is. And it would explain how the women weren't immediately incapacitated themselves. Forensics did find VX residue on their clothes and hands later, showing they handled something toxic.
But they washed their hands quickly afterwards. They claim that was part of the prank script.
Yeah. Yes. They testified they were told to wash their hands immediately after each prank. If the dual component theory is right, that quick washing might have saved them from absorbing a lethal dose themselves.
So it really does paint them as potentially deceived tools, doesn't it? Utterly unaware of the lethality.
It certainly allows for that possibility. Whether they should have known something was wrong is another question, but the operation seems designed to keep them in the dark.
Okay, so the women are arrested, but the investigation obviously looked beyond them. To the handlers, the guys who set this all up.
Right. Malaysian police quickly identified several North Korean men. These weren't actors. These were suspected intelligence operatives.
The ringleaders.
The operational leaders, yes. The ones who recruited the women, paid them, gave them instructions, supplied the chemicals, and likely monitored the whole thing from nearby in the airport.
And what happened to them? Did they get arrested too?
Not a chance. This is where the state protection kicks in. They executed a clean getaway. These main suspects fled Malaysia the same day as the assassination. Within hours, they were on flights out, heading back towards North Korea or to other safe havens.
Using diplomatic passports.
Believed to be, yes.
Yeah.
Which gave them easier passage. And crucially, one of the key suspects actually holed up inside the North Korean embassy in Kuala Lumpur.
Inside the embassy, that's basically untouchable territory.
Exactly. A blatant abuse of diplomatic immunity and premises. The end result. None of the ringleaders ever faced a Malaysian court. The people who planned and directed the murder vanished.
Leaving just the two women. And this obviously caused a huge diplomatic row between Malaysia and North Korea.
Massive fallout. Malaysia recalled its ambassador. North Korea did the same. Travel restrictions were imposed. Angry statements flew back and forth.
North Korea had leverage, didn't they? Malaysian citizens in Pyongyang.
They did. They refused to let 9 Malaysian citizens leave North Korea, essentially turning them into political hostages.
Putting Malaysia in an impossible position.
Completely. Negotiating under duress.
Yeah.
And the final deal, it was deeply controversial.
What was the deal?
Malaysia agreed to return Kim Jong-nam's body to North Korea.
To the very regime that ordered his murder.
Yes. in exchange for the safe return of the 9 Malaysian hostages.
Wow. So justice for the murder was traded for the safety of their citizens?
That's how it looks. It confirms this wasn't just a crime, it was a state-level power play. The goal wasn't just assassination, it was manipulating the aftermath, shutting down the investigation, and demonstrating impunity.
So the handlers escape, the body is returned, and the focus shifts back to the only people left, the two women. Their trial starts when?
October 2017, Siti Aizia and Don Pi Huang face the court, and the charges are incredibly serious.
It's murder, right, which in Malaysia...
It was a mandatory death penalty. Execution by hanging. The stakes could not have been higher for them.
And the prosecution had a strong case, didn't they, despite the prank defense?
Objectively, yes.
Yeah.
They had the chilling CCTV footage. They had the irrefutable forensic evidence of VX. They had police reports tracking the women's movements, linking them directly to those North Korean handlers who fled.
The core fact they applied the poison was undeniable.
Undeniable. It seemed like convictions were almost inevitable, regardless of whether they knew it was VX. They performed the action that caused death.
They looked doomed. But then, something unexpected happened. Politics intervened again.
Massively. In March 2019, right in the middle of the trial process, the Malaysian prosecution suddenly announces they are withdrawing the murder charge against Siti Aizia.
Just dropped. Why?
It shocked the courtroom. She was released and flown back to Indonesia almost immediately. The widely accepted explanation: intense diplomatic pressure from Indonesia, high-level lobbying to get their citizen freed.
So Malaysia folds again, trading a murder charge for good relations with a major neighbor, Indonesia.
It certainly looks that way. Having already secured their own citizen's release by giving back the body, maybe they felt the political cost of pursuing the case against Aizia wasn't worth it compared to maintaining regional ties.
So the case becomes less about criminal justice and more about diplomatic maneuvering.
That's the consensus. And Aizia's release put enormous pressure regarding the other defendant, Doan Thi Huang, from Vietnam.
What happened with her? She was the one actually seen smearing his face on the clearest footage.
Her situation changed too. After Aizia walked free, Huang's charge was eventually downgraded. Not murder anymore, but a lesser charge, voluntarily causing hurt by dangerous weapon.
A huge difference from mandatory death penalty.
Absolutely. She pleaded guilty to that lesser charge. Having already served about 2 years in detention, she was sentenced accordingly and released in May 2019. Flew back to Vietnam.
Okay, let's just summarize the legal endgame here for everyone listening.
Well, all right, so 2 women deliver a fatal dose of a banned chemical weapon in a public airport. The target dies. But no one is ever convicted of intentional murder. The North Korean organizers escaped completely. The woman, potentially most culpable based on CCTV, gets a reduced charge and serves minimal time. The other woman walks free entirely due to diplomatic pressure.
So, one of the biggest, most brazen political assassinations of the 21st century essentially ends with no real legal accountability for the killing itself.
That's the grim reality. The consensus among international observers, legal analysts, it's a profound failure of justice. It showed how a determined state, willing to use diplomatic blackmail and leverage, could effectively neutralize the legal process following a state-sponsored murder abroad.
They literally got away with it.
The planners and orchestrators did, completely.
We've dissected the politics, the poison, the trial, or lack thereof. But let's circle back to Kim Jong-nam himself, the man at the center of it all.
Yeah, it's important not to lose sight of the human element. He's a genuinely tragic figure in many ways.
Born into ultimate power, basically. The top of the pyramid.
But becomes this wanderer, this exile, living a life that seemed to slide from a kind of golden exile, funded and comfortable, towards something much more precarious.
Drifting between Macau casinos, hotels in China, airport lounges.
Exactly. A life marked by contradictions. Reports suggest he enjoyed gambling, drinking, maybe involved in some shady small-time deals to keep money flowing.
A far cry from the disciplined image, the regime project.
Totally. Yet this is the same guy who had the nerve to talk to foreign journalists, advocating for reforms, predicting the system's failure. He wasn't just a playboy.
He had a family, too, didn't he? Children.
Yes, several children, 6, reportedly, including his son, Kim Hansel.
Kim Hansel. His appearance after the assassination caused quite a stir, didn't it?
It did. There was this short video that surfaced online, high quality, released by a mysterious group calling itself Keel Lima Civil Defense, or Free Josian.
And Hansel confirmed his father's death.
Yes. He looks straight at the camera, shows his passport for identification, and says clearly, "My father's been killed."
And then, what happened to him? and the rest of the immediate family.
They vanished, disappeared completely from public view. The strong suspicion is they were taken into protective custody, likely facilitated by one or more Western intelligence agencies. They haven't been seen since.
That disappearance, his father's outspokenness, it leads to this really explosive final layer to the story, the CIA connection.
Ah, yes. This is a huge potential element. It's technically unproven, but it's been reported credibly by major outlets like the Wall Street Journal and explored by journalists like Anna Fifield who've studied the Kims deeply.
What's the claim?
The claim is that in the final years of his life, Kim Jong-nam may have become an information source for the CIA.
A source providing intelligence on North Korea.
That's the suggestion, that he occasionally met with U.S. intelligence agents, perhaps in Southeast Asia, sharing insights about the regime, the power dynamics, maybe his half-brother's inner circle, things only a Kim family member might know.
If, and it's an if,
Yep.
but if that's true, it completely reframes the motive for the assassination, doesn't it?
Entirely. It moves beyond just silencing a critic or eliminating a dynastic rival over the succession spat years ago.
It becomes
Either way.
like counterintelligence.
It becomes the cold, calculated elimination of a crucial, high-value intelligence asset, providing secrets to an enemy state. From North Korea's perspective, that would be an act of espionage demanding the ultimate penalty.
That would certainly explain the urgency, the extreme method, maybe even the public nature of it as a warning to others.
It potentially explains a lot. If Pyongyang discovered he was talking to the CIA, neutralizing him would become a top priority, shutting down the leak.
But it raises another question. If he was such a valuable CIA asset, why wasn't he better protected? Why was he just wandering through KLIA-2 alone?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If the reporting is accurate, there are a few possibilities. Maybe Kim Jong-nam himself was reckless, underestimated the danger, didn't follow security protocols, or perhaps more chillingly, North Korean intelligence knew he was an asset, knew his travel patterns, and chose the time and place he was most vulnerable, transiting publicly, far from any potential U.S. protection to strike.
Silencing a critic and taking out an enemy intelligence source in one go.
It would be a brutally efficient move, hitting multiple objectives simultaneously.
So we've followed this trail from the privileged birth through exile to that horrific death in the airport terminal. What's the ultimate takeaway here? What does the assassination of Kim Jong-nam really tell us?
I think there are three really stark conclusions we have to draw from this whole affair.
Okay, lay them out.
First, it's about the message of terror. This wasn't meant to be a quiet, discreet elimination. Staging it in a crowded international airport, using a weapon guaranteed to make global headlines.
It was performative.
Highly performative, designed specifically to generate fear and deterrence. The message to any other potential dissidents, defectors, or rivals, inside or outside North Korea, was crystal clear. Look what we can do. We will find you. Nowhere is safe. Maximum psychological impact.
Okay, that's one. What's the second?
Second is the sheer audacity of using chemical warfare in public. Deploying VX in KLIA-2 showed an absolute profound indifference to collateral damage, to innocent lives.
Risking thousands of people, passengers, airport staff.
Knowingly risking them. It wasn't just murder. It was a statement about how little international laws and norms mean to the regime when it comes to protecting its power. It tells you exactly where their ethical red lines are or aren't regarding their chemical weapons stockpile.
A terrifying disregard for human life and global treaties. And the third takeaway.
The third is about the disposable agents, the cynical, calculated use of Siti Aisha and Doan Thi Huang.
The women who thought they were in a prank show.
Exactly. Recruited, presumably because they were perceived as naive, maybe desperate for money or attention, easily manipulated. They were turned into instruments of state-sponsored murder, likely without full comprehension.
And conveniently left behind to take the fall.
Precisely. The intelligence operation used their vulnerability, their lack of sophistication, as a shield, ensuring that when the dust settled, the only people facing court were the lowest-level pawns, while the architects walked free. It's a masterclass in cynical statecraft.
So, in the end, the system worked for the perpetrators.
For the architects of the plot, yes. They achieved their primary objective. Kim Jong-nam was eliminated. They weathered the diplomatic storm through blackmail. They retrieved their agents. They ensured no real accountability ever reached Pyongyang.
It just highlights the fundamental problem of justice when crimes are committed at the state level, doesn't it? Impunity often reigns.
It's a grim reminder of that reality, which leaves us, and you listening, with that final question to chew on.
Okay, let's unpack this. Was this whole saga just the tragic, perhaps inevitable end for a deposed prince who became inconvenient, who talked too much, a family matter gone extreme?
Or was it something colder, more calculated? Was it a global message delivered with a weapon of mass destruction signaling utter ruthlessness? Was it primarily about eliminating an intelligence threat to the regime?
A message aimed not just at dissidents, but perhaps at rival intelligence agencies, too.
Potentially.
Yeah.
A demonstration of reach, capability, and utter ruthlessness.
So think about that final image. The world's most sophisticated, deadly nerve agent. Not used on a battlefield, but deployed in the check-in line of a budget airline terminal.
What does that tell you about the nature of power and the future of conflict in the shadows? You decide.